Four walls, a roof, a home. It is something that many people took for granted until this year. Many people are now fighting to keep one of those roofs and windows and the doors and all of that up. So we're going to help answer your questions about keeping your home, about evictions and your rights, and also about the HOPE program. I'm joined by Haley Pfeiffer Haynes with the North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resiliency. That's who is doing the HOPE program. And Isaac Sturgill with Legal Aid of North Carolina. You can text both of these experts questions to 336-379-5775. Again, this is a text only. We do not have ability to take your phone calls. What we do have the ability to do is take your text question. Again, 336-379-5775. All right, first and foremost, Isaac, let's start with you because the first question we got in the queue is, how long is the new moratorium on evictions?
So the moratorium that's in effect right now is called the CDC eviction moratorium, and that's a moratorium. It's not automatic, but if tenants sign a form called a declaration saying that they meet certain qualifications and give it to their landlord, then that tenant's protected from eviction for non-payment of rent at that point. It was originally supposed to expire at the end of December. It was extended again through the end of January, and just today, the new director of the CDC signed another order extending it through the end of March. So currently that moratorium is going to stay in effect through March 31st.
Okay, so the eviction moratorium all the way through March the 31st. And the HOPE program just started some new processes, which means that more people were able to get some help and some aid. So Haley, kind of give us the rundown on that.
Sure. I want to point out also that the governor has signed another executive order of 191 to extend the eviction moratorium to protect HOPE applicants without having to go through the CDC declaration, and that is also through March 31st. But recently we have been able to turn on some automation for generating rent awards, and we were able to start that last Friday, which allowed us to generate over 12,400 new rent awards worth $57.5 million. So we were very excited about this new automation and the way that it's going to allow us to help people more quickly.
Okay, and one of the new things with the HOPE program is the portal, and this has never been in existence before, but it is now. So we want to show you what the portal looks like, and tell me how folks who are in the HOPE program can use this portal.
Yes, so everyone who has outstanding pieces of information that we need in order to complete their award process would have gotten an email today, and you log in by providing your last name, your application identification number, and the primary applicant's date of birth. Once you do that, it returns to you questions or screens that allow you to upload the information or documents that we may need to complete your award process. One of the very common pieces of information we need is your landlord's email address so that we can send those automated rent awards to them and to the landlord simultaneously, as well as copies of utility bills that show additional amounts that may have accrued since you applied. So this is all in an effort to get the award out and cover all of the eligible expenses that we can.
Okay, this next question is actually kind of a two-part question for both of you. Let me start with you first, Isaac. The question says, what can I do if my landlord is retaliating because I'm part of the HOPE program by not fixing things?
Ooh, that is definitely illegal. So first of all, retaliatory eviction in North Carolina is illegal, but landlords always have a duty to make repairs to the home, and a landlord is not allowed to refuse to make repairs just because they are upset with the tenant for applying for assistance, or, for example, claiming protection under the CDC moratorium would be another example of something that would be a protected thing that a tenant can do. So if the landlord is not making repairs, there's a couple of things that a tenant may decide to do. First of all, the tenant may contact the local housing code enforcement. If you live in a city or a county that has housing code inspectors, that's a free service that many places offer. And usually you do that by dialing 311 and just following the menu for housing code enforcement. you also may consider contacting legal aid. Oftentimes, our attorneys are able to get involved and to get those repairs done.
And part of that too, I think people forget that sometimes they make a phone call or they say offhandedly when they're on their way out somewhere, hey, I need this fixed. But what tenants really need to do is put it in writing so that there is evidence that they have asked the landlord to make those kinds of repairs.
That's a really good point. And so technically most repairs you don't have to ask for in writing in order for the landlord to be put on official notice and to do the repairs. However, if you end up in a courtroom or if you end up having to try to prove to a judge or somebody that you did ask for the repairs, of course, it's a good idea to have them in writing so you can prove your case.
Or at least text or email or something of that nature. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, Haley, I saw you nodding in agreement to a lot of what Isaac was saying. What did you want to add to that?
So one of the things that if the landlord has agreed to participate in the HOPE program, one of the things that they are agreeing to is to provide a safe and habitable dwelling for their tenant. So there are provisions in that landlord-tenant agreement that they do have to keep up that property in a safe and habitable way.